Hi, and welcome to the Phenomenal Reflection Podcast. I am the founder and the host, Phenomenal Mindy. And what I want you to do is go ahead and follow me on those different platforms. And I am available on TikTok as Phenomenal Mindy. I am available on Spotify as Phenomenal Reflection. And I also am available on YouTube and StreamYard at Phenomenal Reflections. So, what you're going to do is turn on these notifications, make sure you subscribe and follow the channel so you can get the first thing when I go ahead and drop a video. But as we go ahead and get into the podcast, I'm going to talk about part two of the importance of having a relationship. Now, the importance of having a relationship, you'll be able to have a healthy life, you'll be able to function, you'll be able to identify certain things that's happening early on in a relationship that you'll know to be able to say, well, hey, do I want to continue or do I want to abort the mission? So, what I'm going to do is give you some tools and I'm going to give you a lot of different informations and takeaways that you can take on with you in your life and be able to share with others that may be struggling with the importance of healthy relationship concerning domestic violence. This podcast is about domestic violence, but not limited to domestic violence. In order to give you the tools that you need for domestic violence, we have to give you all the things and steps that take and that you should know leading up to domestic violence. Okay, with that being said, now, in order to ensure a healthy relationship in your life, it have to be very positive, have to be very sustainable, and it have to be within. So, and if you don't have those different positive things, negative things will begin to arise within your life and affect your health, affect your mental health. You won't be able to function, and you need to function, especially if you have children. You need to function and be able to show great energy within yourself towards your children. And I want to talk about where you have to identify and list those positive behaviors so you will know what's toxic and what's not toxic. And a lot of people like to talk about toxic as being a healthy thing, but toxic is definitely not a healthy thing. But with that being said, between the two people, both people must trust and respect each other. Both people must protect, value the relationship, and make it a priority. Now, if it's not a priority to you, you're not going to be able to put your all into it. You're not going to be able to put no type of energy in nothing. It's just like you're going to be just going along on the road with yourself and not reflecting or not being transparent. Also, both people must be able to listen, and sometimes you got to compromise what's necessary. I'm not saying to compromise things that make you devalue who you are. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I'm saying little small things that, for example, it could be something like you could be arguing over the dishes, you could be arguing over the trash, you could be arguing over filling up your tank or whatever for you to drive for work the next week. So those kind of things that you can kind of compromise on and you don't have to be so like I'm just down your neck and down your throat because I'm pretty sure some things within yourself that you may need to compromise from other people's view looking at you. So, I'm gonna continue on with the conversation. Now both, party must be able to listen to each other very well. And you have to listen and do not respond while a person listen. A lot of times I like to tell people, don't already have in your mind, if you're listening to about somebody, don't already have in your mind that you want to have a response without them even finishing the whole topic or finishing the statement, I should say, of what they trying to express to you, because that comes off as rejection. That comes off as, hey, you're not listening to me. So we don't want to, do those type of things. You got to be able to speak. You got to be able to talk to your partner. These are healthy things in a relationship. If you're in a relationship and you holding back information from your spouse, especially if you're living together, let's just break that down. If you're really living together and this is what you guys doing as a union, it shouldn't be nothing you should be able to talk to your spouse about. Your spouse or your partner should be your best friend. I don't care who comes along. Your spouse supposed to be your best friend. That's the bottom line. And if I can't talk to you, then I can't express my feelings. I'm not allowed to say anything. It's like I'm walking on eggshells around you. So you don't want to do that. And I can tell you from experience, you don't want to be in that position. So make sure everything is healthy. Make sure you able to express yourself with your partner. And if you can't, if you're in a relationship and you say, I can't express myself to my partner, he won't listen, then what are we doing? You know, what what are we doing? At some point, we got to get out of being raised in a home where there's only been one side of the equation. And I'm trying to position this right and say the right thing without going into other things. But you are able to set boundaries within the relationship. Arguments and disagreements do not lead into threat or violence. Let me say that again. Arguments and disagreement do not lead to threat and violence. If you guys get into an argument and you're not on the same page and you're not feeling each other, then sometimes it's let me take a break. Let me take a step back. And some people may say, well, you shouldn't be able to pull back. You should be able to go ahead and speak what you need to speak. Sometimes that I've learned that sometimes when you take a step back and you assess the situation, then I could be able to respond better because I don't want to respond from the first emotion. I don't want to do that because that's gonna tell me to do something I ain't got no business doing, and that also stems from not having a healthy relationship, not being within yourself, as we talked about in the last show, not being within yourself, knowing yourself, sitting within yourself, and you as a healed person. Now, if by all means you're not in the healed space, there's no need you should be even in a relationship with anyone. You shouldn't be trying to get yourself together. And the best way to do that is within nature. Go sit within nature. Go sit with yourself and identify the problems that I have and be real with yourself. Say, hey, I talk too much. Hey, I have stagnant energy. And all of that, like I said, can be fixed within you having the mind to say, hey, and admit that I do have a problem. Everybody's not perfect. Everybody's not where you are. So therefore, don't try to compare yourself to somebody else's way of life. Do you. Do what works and best for you. Nobody else can be you but you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can walk a mile in your shoes but you. And so go ahead and work yourself. And then you only have one life and you don't get no chance to redo this over. So get it step by step, day by day, practicing on I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna have a healthy relationship. And continue to speak that over yourself. Don't vocalize being toxic. There's nothing cute about being toxic. Toxic is something that's like a disease is basically what it is. And it can be infectious and contagious. And you having your little heel self get into a toxic relationship thinking that, oh, this gonna be good because I feel his vibe, I like his swag, I like what he putting down. You know what I'm saying? So nah, that ain't what we doing. And before you know it, now you affected and now you got an attitude. And guess what? Now if you got children, now you're hollering and screaming, you're being irate, you don't have patience, all of that. So it's important to have a healthy relationship. If it's toxic, you need to get away from it. And it doesn't matter if it's a mother, father, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, mother-in-law. It doesn't matter. You feel what I'm saying? So don't say, "Oh, well, that's just the way they are, and that's who they is." No, if that's who they is, I am who I am, and I have the right to say, "Hey, let me step away from this situation because what's going on, I'm not picking up what you're putting down." So continue to do that, and also there will not be no physical, verbal, or emotional abuse. Now, I can have a disagreement with you, and I can go over to a corner and I can assess myself and assess the situation, and then I can identify what part that I play in. You have to, in order to have a healthy relationship, you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to, as they say, hold yourself to the fire. Because you know it's some fire within those sticks that's coming together and this, clacking, clacking, clacking together. I'm just being real and honest. So the next thing I want to talk about here is some tips to improving relationship quality. Now, as I stated before, you need to give it time. Set time aside for family, friends, or your significant other. It is important that you do that. Don't sit up there and you sit up there hurting and got a problem in a situation within, y'all don't had a disagreement and y'all haven't even talked about the disagreement. Now y'all couple days done went by. Now y'all ain't talking. Now y'all ain't speaking. And then I could say I done seen it where it could be 2 weeks later. Now y'all just pick up where y'all left off, and y'all haven't even discussed the issue that's already within the relationship. So pick yourself up and say, "Well, hey, let me be an adult. Let me hold myself accountable. Let me not be the person that, hey, I can't talk to her. Hey, I can't talk to him." Don't be that person. Step out inside, and this is all comes within growing up. I'm really gonna be honest with you. It all maturity. It plays a big part. Just because you be the first one that say, "Hey, it's a problem issue," does not mean you are the problem. It's just, hey, we in a relationship, and I want to know what's really going on. Let me talk to you. Let's have a conversation. And like I said early on, if you can't talk to your spouse or significant other, then that is a big problem. That's a big problem. But be present. Disconnect from your work, your social media to devote attention for your loved ones. Now, in a healthy relationship, you're not gonna sit up and be on no phone entertaining no social media when you got a significant other right there and y'all need time, especially if you have children. Let me say that again. Especially if you have children, it's very important that you have a healthy relationship and take time away from social media. Turn all that junk off because on the television too as well. Because only thing all of this is doing is telling you a vision. So it's painting a picture for you. Why you not painting your own picture? What's wrong with that? You should be painting your own picture. So put that phone down. If a spouse want to have a conversation, it's very rude to hold the phone in the middle of a conversation or a disagreement when I'm trying to have a conversation with you, or your spouse trying to have a conversation with you and say, "Hey, something is bothering me. Something is a problem." You ought to be the person that I should be able to go and talk to. You are my friend. This is how it's supposed to be. So put those things away. Those are all distractions. Those are all distractions. Put those away. And the next thing I want to talk about is listen. Actively listen to what others have to say. Be attentive to their needs and avoid passing judgment. I'm going to say something. I watched the TikTok video, and the guy that was up there doing the TikTok video, he was like a counselor or whatever. And he was talking about when you in a relationship or bonding contract, or should I say, and something is going wrong. There's a discord within those, within those elements or whatever. And he said that you're talking and having a conversation and your spouse is over here drowning. And when I say drowning, it could be within themselves, it can be sorrow, it could be kids, it could be finance, whatever the situation. And this all again is the importance of having a healthy relationship. So he says you're in a relationship with this person and you're having a conversation and they're over here drowning and you over here spitting facts. I'm not saying that what your facts that you're spitting is actual truth, but in this particular moment, I'm drowning. So are you gonna save me? And I'm not talking about like Captain Saber. I'm saying, are you gonna put something out there for a canoe out there for me to catch and pull me and reel me back in? Or are you gonna stand there at the bank and are you gonna be hollering, "I told you not to go over there. You should have never went over there." Is that what we gonna be doing? I'm just saying. And that spoke volume to me. And I remember that, and I could say, oh my God, it was so profound to me how he put it. So when you in a healthy relationship, you got to be able to identify when your partner is drowning. Like I'm talking about like literally drowning. If you're looking at your partner and all thing y'all doing is saying hey and good morning to each other and there's no interaction there, then something is wrong. They are drowning. And that doesn't matter if it's a brother, if your brother haven't called, you haven't reached out. And sometimes we do have lives, we do be busy, we do be doing that, but sometimes you got to be the olive branch too. You got to check on them and see are they drowning? Because a domestic violence is something that is hitting within our community. People are drowning. So we got to be able to help some folks out now. We got to be able to get this together. because I want to throw some canoes out to some people and reel them in. I don't want to be that person that didn't contribute to the community, once my lifetime is up here. The next thing I want you to do is share your feelings. Be honest. Welcome support from other people. This is the thing that I talked about in the last show. You have to know and be honest. Even if the person that you're vibing with, like you cool, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I'd rather you hurt my feelings with the truth than to hurt my feelings with a lie. I'm just gonna say that again. The truth than to hurt my feelings with a lie. And you gotta be able to welcome in support from other people within our melanated being selves. We were raised to, you don't go seek help, you don't go to a counselor, you don't talk to nobody. You better fix that yourself. You better, nigga, head up and chest out. That's what we doing around here. And so that's just the lifestyle that melanated beings. I don't know where that come from. I'm not here to dissect that and go down that rabbit hole. I'm just here to let you know that you do need support from other people. You do need to get outside of the normal people. You do need to talk to somebody that don't know you in the situation that can give you their honest opinion. So you just got to do this. This is something important because this is for the next generation. We don't want to be raising, or we don't want to be developing children that's not equipped for things that when we're passed away, they won't be able to operate or be able to use or be able to be whole. So we got to be able to do that. Next thing I want to talk about, recognize unhealthy relationship, harmful relationship, which include physical, verbal, emotional abuse, can lead you to unhappy and at a risk for health damaging behaviors. Addressing these problems is an important step towards improving your health. Now, I think when I came up with this, I really was digging deep. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I really was digging deep, and this may be shots fired. It may be shots fired because when we're not operating within ourselves and when we're not in a healthy relationship and raising children to see that it's important to have a healthy relationship, we raise children with anger. And they have a tendency of having other behaviors that we're not happy and we're not fond of, like ADHD. Some of them can be psychopath, and some of them could be, born psychopath, and some of them could be taught behavior, or should I say learned behavior. And you don't want that. And you building up an anger within a child. For me, it is important to have a two-parent home. I understand the situations. I understand that things that are in the way, and we may not can cohabit with the next partner when it's just only one of us. But make sure you have a co-parent relationship outside of a friendship. And if you can't have a friendship, just stick to the co-parent. At least we can do that as responsible adults. But if you don't have that, it's important that you get men involved in these young men lives. And when I say men's, I'm not talking about the certain men that you are sleeping with. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about men that are stand-up guys that are in the community, that are active, that are giving back, that are donating, that are promoting, that are pushing, that are being activists, that are being somebody as a leadership of something. And leadership can be of the home. You need to get these children involved. Now, don't take him down to Little Ray Ray house and Little Ray Ray sagging his pants. Little Ray Ray got guns on his profile picture. Little Ray Ray posted up with the money. We ain't talking about them folks. We ain't talking about them folks. Didn't I tell y'all shots was fired? Shots was fired. So you need to get them children around positive men in the community that's doing something. It could be somebody in the church, but be very watchful on this situation. Get these children involved with some type of male figure and let them be around the ones that own businesses that they're doing black businesses. Get them around people that's positive. And for women, Get those around the elders. Get those around the aunties that still live, or sometimes y'all would like to call them would be ancient. Get them around. I love my elderly people for the wisdom that they do provide, and I do sit and listen. And it doesn't matter to me if they repeat over and over and over and over. I'm still here to listen because it's some valuable information. Because sometimes when you listen to things, you don't just really catch things on the first go round. Not all the times. I mean, you got to have a sharp mind. You got to have a sharp mind. So sit with those elders, take them to those different mothers, and let them sit with them. Sit within. I'm going to promote nature because nature is my medicine. I don't know about anybody else. I think that I said it again for the people that's in the back. My medicine is nature. Period. Bottom line. So anyway, so you don't want to be raising these children as having anger, and if they can't talk to you, get them to somebody that they can talk to them and have a relationship with, and that they can confide in and tell them what's going on. Because a lot of times it's just the idea of mom being in my business and mom is listening to my business. So teenagers, they don't want to talk to their parents about those different things. But here are some ways to strengthen healthy relationship, draw boundaries within healthy relationship. You need to focus on being the best you. Let me say that again. I can stress this. Focus on being the best you. And I mean you, not me. Focus on being the best you. Whether it's through counseling, honest conversation with those who you trust, or simply self-care, and there are many ways to continue growing as a person. And self care, I'm not talking about you going to get your hair done. It's self maintenance. All right. I'm not talking about getting your nails done. It's self maintenance. It's not self care. So know the difference between the two, and then there are many ways that you can continue to grow as a person. These are some that I'm giving you and listing for you. So I want you to be able to have a healthy relationship. I want it to be important to you. So because if it's not important to you, then you're not valuing it. And that goes back on to the earlier part of the conversation. I said that. Oh, come on and work with me. Work with me. Work with me. Phone call, you can do a short walk, you can do a quick meal, spending time connecting is what matters. And I like to tell this story that my people in my family, they connected through me, through somebody else connected, far as me getting to know who I am and really, where I come from. I'm connecting with people. So as I connect with them, a lot of times people say, well, oh, Mindy, they talk to you. Oh, well, they listen to you. They hear what you has to say. And a lot of times it comes from me extending that arm out because they don't know who you are. And I am a sociable person. So I may just text because you may not be the talker. You may not be the one that like to sit up on the phone all the time. So a text could go a long way. They may can't talk, a text back right away, but I promise you, they're gonna text you back. And if they don't, then hey, oh well, it's their loss. But you have to be the one that reaches out sometimes. If nobody don't know you, they're not gonna just pop up to where you are. They're not just gonna say, "Hey, I want to be your friend. I want to be your associate," or "I want to this, I want to that." No, you have to be the one that break the barrier sometimes. And the people that don't is, I like to call them stubborn. And that's exactly what it is. I like to call them stubborn. You want everybody to come to you, approach you. No, you got to do some work too. It can't just be one sided at all. Now, if you find yourself in isolation and you decide to give up and walk away, do that with intentions on coming back to the surface. Don't walk away and continue to walk and never return back again. It goes back to me saying from the days and days of not talking. You don't want to do that. You don't want to isolate. If you don't got nothing to do, volunteer. Go to your community, go to the farm community. And ask in your community, are those some vegetables that need to be picked? All types of things. Are there some trash that need to be picked on the highways and the byways or in the neighborhood? Are there something that I could do to relieve the tension that I may have? So don't just sit there and sit within it, because then you're gonna be stewing. And when you're stewing, you're gonna be boiling. And when you boiling, you're gonna boil over. And when you boil over, you're gonna burn somebody. So then you become hurting people. And that's not what you want to do. So if you in an unhealthy relationship, just talk to somebody that you trust. Longtime friend, family members, that auntie that you like to stick with and talk with her. You can do that. But draw healthy boundaries. It's necessary that you do that. So with that being said, this is the end of the podcast. And before we go ahead and turn the podcast off, I do want to announce next month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Violence Awareness Month. And we're going to have a blast doing this. We're going to have a good time. And just continue to follow me on those social media platforms. Make sure you follow, like, share, and subscribe. If this can't help you, this might can help somebody that's along the way, or maybe they're driving in their car and they need something to listen to them. Send them this podcast. And with that being said, this is the end of the show, and I will see you on the next episode. And thank you for listening.